Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the podcast. I'm Michael.
I'm Noah.
And we are the Knights of Entertainment, a podcast covering your favorite and unknown movies, games, comic books, anime, and more weekly. We appreciate you being here and hope you enjoy the show. This is what we are covering tonight. If I could talk. Alrighty, we are going over part 1 of 3 of the 4 great races within the Stargate universe. But before we do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You can enjoy this show on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, Odyssey, and more. We also have membership tiers on those platforms as well if you'd like to support the channel, or check out buymeacoffee.com/KOE podcast. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alrighty. Most people know about Stargate. It's one of the 3...
Scott MacGyver.
Yeah, it does.
That's probably the one thing they know.
It does have MacGyver. But it has one of those kind of followings, almost on par with Star Trek and almost on par with Star Wars, but not as big as those two. Like, Stargate fans don't have a name like Trekkie the way Star Trek fans do. So, at least that I'm aware. But
They call them Gaties?
The Gaties.
What would you call them?
I really don't know what the hell you would call them. But as far as I know, they don't have...
We're called the SG-1.
The only kind of community I can think that they have is Gate World. But
Close enough.
that's not too bad. But within the series, there are 4 like ancient civilizations that are in this world that are not the Goa'uld, the ones that they're constantly fighting against. There was 4 races that were actually friends, basically, and had like an alliance almost. So you had the Nox, you had the Furlings, you had the Ancients.
These are furries.
Yeah, we'll get into that next. We'll get into that next week. And then you have the Asgard. Basically, the what you picture as the gray aliens from Roswell. Yeah, that's the Asgard. The Asgard, they are distinguishable by their large heads, kind of like the Roswell Greys. They have a heightened intellect. They're asexual clones,
but they got massive cocks.
Yeah, that would be very awkward. Their homeworlds are Hala or Orilla. The original was destroyed, and then the last one, it was destroyed as well. Their language is Asgard. Their form of government is the High Council, and their alliances are with themselves, the Vanir, which that is like another like offshoot of their race specifically. They had the 4 great races that they were part of. They had the Protected Planets Treaty, and then the Tauri. The Tauri are just Earth. That's what everybody calls Earth people in this universe.
That's what they call them. That's what they call them in the community.
The Tauri.
Yeah, perfect.
And they basically are at this point near extinct. So
they don't bang is why.
Yeah.
Hard to bang when you don't have nothing to bang with.
It just fully smooth bodies.
Just fucking flat mounds.
Yeah, I don't even think they have mounds.
Flat Earth. I don't know.
Flat Earth. That's a whole different subject. Yeah. All right. The Asgard are a humanoid race. They are ancient and benevolent. They assume the persona of beneficent protective gods on many worlds and assume the role of protectors in the Milky Way galaxy. Their physical forms change gradually when they began to use scientific means to artificially extend their lifespans.
Sound like liposuction. No, what's the word? Plastic surgery.
Kind of like those women that get those nose jobs when they get into their 50s. It's like, what the
they way overdo it.
To you?
Just let yourself age naturally. You'll be all right.
You'll look much better for it.
Yeah, just that's okay. It's a natural process.
They gifted all of their knowledge and technology to the Tauri before the Ida Asgard committed mass suicide due to the...
That got dark.
I know. Due to the failed attempts to repair the genetic degradation caused by continuous recloning and unwilling to allow their technology to be plundered by other races. So they gave all their technology to the humans and then blew up their planet.
Jesus. Here's all my stuff, bro.
However, a rogue group known as the Vanir were still alive in the Pegasus satellite galaxy, consumed with the desire to survive. Believing that the ends justified the means, their primary goal was survival, as they did not wish to end up like their distant cousins, which would result in the loss of 100,000 years of history.
It's like Walmart's future.
Yeah, to Amazon.
Their will to survive. It's a powerful Amazon.
As long as there's our southern people, they'll exist forever. Don't worry.
I walked into a Walmart one time in the middle of the night, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a cop, a woman cop, just pinning some poor guy on the ground. Like, get off me! Get off me! I'm like, bro, she's got you. She had him. Like, he wasn't going nowhere.
It's like, well,
but because he felt emasculated,
mm-hmm.
he thought he had to fight, right? Like, I gotta fight to, prove I can get an erection. And I'm like, you just let her. Like, if a woman pinned me down, I'm like, okay, you got me.
I'm done.
I'm not gonna struggle with
Hey, if you can allow a woman to pin you down that easily, I'm sorry.
It's like, oh, you got me.
It's just the context changes.
Basically, yeah.
Play Rodney Carrington. It's like, you want to fight? Just start taking your pants off. It's like, come on. All right. Over 30,000 years ago, the Asgard were a tall, approximately 2-meter high, generally humanoid species that reproduce sexually. Their physical forms changed gradually when they began to use scientific means to artificially extend their lifespans. The modern Asgard averaged about 1 meter in height, with grayish skin tones, small skinny limbs, large heads, and black eyes, bearing a striking resemblance to the Roswell Greys described in countless UFO stories.
Is that part of the mythology?
Yes.
Roswell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Their body, now weakened by several millennia of cloning, is more susceptible to the discharge of the Zat gun.
Got that inbreeding going on. It's what it sounds like.
The discharge of a Zat gun or a Zat Nickel gun. It's like a stun gun almost. Than other races. Basically, an example of this is Loki, which is one of the Asgard, fell almost immediately, while most human and Jafal stand for a minute before they fall over. Oh. So like just automatically down.
Oh, you got me. It's fucking passing out.
When individuals spoke, the areas that would have been their temples on a human would slowly pulse in and out.
Up here?
Yeah. Like the big part of their brains would just like slightly move.
Fucking weird.
The species possessed no adrenal glands within their bodies and did not have any epinephrine pumping through their lymphatic system either. So they're just basically...
Emotionless?
Kind of, yeah. A little bit.
It's like a Witcher.
Going into the cloning side of their species, the Asgard, pursuing means of extending their lifespans, began using cloning technology. The mental patterns of Asgard that became ill or fatally injured were preserved by downloading them into computer memory crystals. The patterns were later placed in a new cloned body. This made the Asgard effectively immortal at the cost of the ability to reproduce sexually.
Should have just made them some androids. Download it into an android.
Yeah.
Permanently immortal.
They kind of had that within Stargate's universe. And they turned out to be really horrible. So
just got to get good at it.
This prevented the natural process of evolution, making ascension impossible without assistance. So they basically, unlike the ancients, which we'll cover in the next 2 videos, they weren't allowed. They couldn't basically ascend naturally anymore. The excessive use of the cloning process began to damage and degrade the Asgard genome. This would result in the eventual extinction of the race unless a cure could be found. The Asgard devoted considerable time and resources to the project, but their efforts basically proved fruitless. So they couldn't find a way to reverse the cloning problem that they had, so they had to keep doing it.
Yeah, imagine getting all this plastic surgery, and you look in the mirror and you're like, fuck. It's irreversible.
The Vanir, which is the offshoot of the Asgards, basically like their cousins.
They mean cousin banging too, I'm assuming.
Like whenever you think back to like Norse mythology, there's the Asgardians, and then there's the what is it, the Asir?
Yeah,
I think like the 2 families of
Asir, yeah.
That's what the Vanir were to them.
Okay.
So it's like the offshoot family basically of beings. They had more luck in dealing with this issue than their Ida counterparts, primarily because they were willing to experiment on humans when the main faction would not. Even so, they were not basically able to eradicate the problem, only postpone it. The final attempt to solve the problem resulted in a rapid progressing fatal disease. And that was the point that they gave all their technology to people of Earth and blew himself up. The Asgard evolved on the planet Hala and the Othala galaxy. So a completely different galaxy than ours. Their collected history and culture would span over 100,000 years. They began exploring outside their own galaxy around 28,000 BC. At some point, the Asgard began to began a program of cloning their people and transferring their minds into these bodies as a means of vastly extending their lifespans. At some point in time, the Asgard were hit by a plague that they called Barian syndrome, a disease that wiped out 60% of their population, and within a generation, over 75% of the survivors of the disease became sterile and suffered from cellular degradation. The remaining 10% of the population did not have the necessary genetic diversity to reverse the trend completely away from their genetic breakdown. So that was another reason why they started their cloning. They couldn't reproduce. They were sterile.
Jesus.
That would suck. Around this time, at 30,000 years ago, an Asgard ship was traveling from Othala to the Milky Way galaxy. Basically, I got stranded. So this is a ship that they found later in the Stargate series, where they found one of the original, like 30,000-year-old Asgards, and he looked nothing like the Asgards of the day. He was like tall. So
a normal dude.
Humanoid-ish. Okay. So it didn't look like a human necessarily, but like more humanoid proportions. It's like a normal height and stuff like that. The Asgard 10,000 years ago made peaceful contacts with the Ancients, the Furlings, and the Nox. They also came into conflict with the Goa'uld, liberating several humans from the Goa'uld worlds. God, I tried to say Goa'uld and world in one sentence. The Asgard declared themselves their protectors until their cultures had sufficiently evolved and threatened the Goa'uld with violent retaliation if they reattempted to enslave the humans of those worlds. The Vanir, a group of the Asgards, who did not share their brethren's ethical concerns about experimenting on humans to solve their genetic degradation problems, left the Ida galaxy and traveled to the Pegasus galaxy. Basically where you pick up with Stargate Atlantis in the Pegasus galaxy. Where they could continue their experiments, which were able to slowly advance but not reverse their genetic problems. After the Ancients discovered they could not win the war with the Wraith, part of Stargate Atlantis, and left for the Milky Way. The Wraith attacked the Vanir. The Vanir intergalactic ships were damaged beyond repair in the first battle, and as they lacked the means to reconstruct new ones, they were basically stranded in the Pegasus galaxy at this point. So the Wraith fucked them up, basically. In order to survive, the Vanir moved to a toxic planet where the Wraith could not endure it, because the Wraith could kind of regenerate by stealing life force almost. So they put a hand on you and just absorb your life essence. Which is creepy. At first, they only needed to use simple breathing apparatus to survive on this toxic planet, but the planet's atmosphere continued to degrade, forcing them to develop armored exoskeletons capable of withstanding the new conditions. Despite the effort of the Asgard, the Goa'uld became a great threat to the human population of the Milky Way galaxy, which we find in Stargate. Like whenever you first meet all the supposed gods in Stargate, they're all Goa'uld. Until you get to the Norse ones, and the Norse gods are all Asgard. The Goa'uld began taking humans as hosts during this time, which greatly angered the Asgard, who realized humanity had great potential. The Asgard's vast superior technology was more than a match for the Goa'uld, who were forced to sign a treaty with the Asgard in order to keep from being destroyed at this point.
Damn.
And so the Goa'uld are scared of the Asgard. Like, terrified of the Asgard. Unwilling to completely give the galaxy over to Goa'uld, the Asgard freed and transplanted humans on various worlds and posed as their protective gods, as they felt they were not yet ready to have their belief system completely stripped away. Accordingly, they devised a series of challenges designed to determine when a person, like a group of people, were advanced enough to learn and presumably cope with the truth of their protector's true nature. So they basically would create a test of like intelligence and stuff like that, to where once they thought if a human civilization was smart enough, they would be able to understand and accept the Asgard for being aliens rather than gods.
So I guess we're never going to accept.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
No. To ensure the safety of these many planets, the Asgard and the Goa'uld brokered the Protective Planets Treaty. A treaty stipulated that the Asgard would allow the Goa'uld various benefits. The precise terms were unknown, and in return, the Goa'uld would leave the humans of the various worlds mentioned in the treaty alone. The treaty would be expanded to include other worlds if both parties agreed to negotiate. For some time, the Asgard protected these planets with their advanced technology and warships, but the discovery and invasion of the Replicators, which is the technology part that I was talking about just a few minutes ago, in their home galaxy, basically forced the Asgard to draw away from the Milky Way to back to their home galaxy.
Damn.
They were fighting these machines.
Well, damn.
Leaving the planets protected in name only, basically. So the Goa'uld, they didn't attack these planets in this treaty basically out of fear of just knowing what the Asgard could do. But there was no actual way to stop the Goa'uld from taking over if they wanted to. Within it was one perfectly preserved Asgard ancestor. The Asgard scientist Heimdall began research on it and the clone from this time when their cloning program was not yet irreversible. So that ship that I was talking about that got stranded, Heimdall found it, basically. And was doing experiments on that person of the Asgard from a long time ago, before their genetic shit wasn't completely fucked up in time. The Replicator threat that they dealt with. The Asgard were unable to help Earth directly in the fight against the Goa'uld because of a war with the greater enemy, the Replicators. The Asgard's energy-based weapons were ineffective against them. Human weapons, on the other hand, used simple chemical reactions to drive metallic projectiles through kinetic force, something the mechanoids could not defend against.
You can't beat bullets.
Basically, yeah.
Here you are.
No, but this is how the Asgard describe it.
I know what a bullet is.
They describe a bullet as a chemical reaction to drive metallic projectiles through kinetic force.
I'll give you some kinetic force, all right?
With the aid of the SG-1, which is Colonel Carter, Teal'c, what's his name? Cannot remember his name. MacGyver.
MacGyver.
And Daniel Jackson. The Asgard imprisoned all the replicators in a time dilation field on the planet Hala. They then collapsed Hala's sun into a black hole in hopes of destroying the replicators, but some managed to escape the attack. They managed to escape and attack the new homeworld, Orilla, that the Asgard had. Aegir, which is one of the Asgards, attacked the ship that dropped out of hyperspace before it could raise its shield. Not all the replicators were destroyed, however, and the replicator named Fifth managed to land on the planet. Jack O'Neill, which is the name that I could not remember.
Okay.
MacGyver.
Yeah.
With the knowledge gained from the ancients, he basically at one point stuck his head into this machine where it just downloaded all this information into his head. With that, he invented a weapon that was based on ancient technology that blocked communication between the replicator cells permanently, because it's all individual little micro machines, that would come together and form whatever they want.
Well, damn.
Yeah. Thor was able to construct a larger version capable of affecting an entire planet. The Asgard aided SG-1 when the replicators invaded the Milky Way, but were unsuccessful. Eventually, SG-1 and the Tok'ra, which are basically Goa'uld, but they're not evil. So they still they still take host with humans, but they don't kill them and they don't take over their bodies. They work as a companion.
Old symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, basically. Jacob Carter and Selmac, which is one of the Tok'ra, destroyed the replicators with the Dakara super weapon. It's this gigantic energy weapon, eliminating them entirely from the Milky Way galaxy. In an unknown date, Odin, a scientist Asgard, which had been spent centuries studying alone on Valhalla, which was a planet, not a place. I guess place, but it's an actual planet. Searching a way to turn the Asgard into holographic beings, found himself threatened when its holographic test subjects rebelled, led by Surtur, which is from mythology.
The guy was meant to start Ragnarok.
Yep. However, thanks to the SG-1's help, Odin and his test subjects combined and together found a way to ascend, basically.
Oh.
It was like a small little group of them that were actually able to ascend.
It's like they're all like deuces.
Pretty much like
dibs.
Fuck all y'all. Fighting the Ori. Although the Goa'uld and the Replicators had been defeated, new threats arose, such as the Ori. Basically, the Ori are the counterpart to the Ancients. So whenever you think of like superpowered beings of like the Ancients, if you consider them angels, the Ori would be demons.
Okay.
They're both ascended beings, but the Ori were like religious fanatics that ascended.
Jesus.
So they're crazy. And apparently within the Stargate realm, the reason humans believe hell has fire in it is because when the ancients passed on all their traditions to humans in this world, they knew about the Ori, which had fire-based abilities. Mm-hmm. So they consider that hell. In the face of this, the Asgard continued to provide aid to Earth by providing technologies for the development of the Daedalus class, which is a gigantic ship that the Earth people have, and in lending them the Asgard engineer Hermiod. So another Norse god. So you learn all the Norse gods just by watching this. The Asgard also participated in the critical events such as the Battle of P3Y229.
Great name.
Great
name for a battle.
Wonderful name.
Fucking memorable.
Then we have the extinction of the Eye to Asgard. So this is like the ones that weren't stranded in the Pegasus galaxy that nobody knew about. These are like the main huge group of the Asgards. So this would include Thor and all the main Asgard people. Their final attempts to repair the genetic degradation caused by continuous recloning failed, and unwilling to allow their technology to be plundered by other races, God, by other racists.
Goddamn white supremacists.
The Asgard decided to commit mass suicide and destroy their planet.
God dang.
But not without passing on their legacy. They gave Stargate Command, which is what Stargate is based out of, an Asgard computer database containing all of their knowledge, and made significant modifications to the Odyssey, which is a Daedalus class ship, consisted of their most recent technology. As the upgrades were completed, 3 Ori ships arrived and attacked both Orilla, which is the planet that they were on at the time, and the Odyssey, which is the ship. The ship fled with 1 Ori ship in pursuit, while the other 2 prepared an attack on the planet. At that moment, the Asgard caused Orilla to explode, destroying the planet and the 2 ships and the Asgard all at once.
But they made sure to delete their browser history.
Yes, they did.
Before they disappeared.
Yes, they did. It's like, man, you don't get to see all this freaky shit. We're gone.
God. Imagine sometime in the future we start space traveling and we find some remnants of an ancient race, and all the computers just straight fucking born.
That'll be whenever we're gone and they find ours.
It's like, oh God.
They find the hub.
God, Pornhub would be the only thing left standing. It'd be Walmart, Pornhub, and Amazon. the big 3 superpowers.
And a mattress firm with nobody in it.
God. Someone's on Twitter. They found an $8,000 mattress on the side of the street. We're gonna take it and we're gonna fix it up. Like there's all the termites and bed bugs and who knows what's on there.
That's disgusting.
But they're like, yo, we gotta get this fucking rug.
Ugh.
Not this rug, this fucking couch. So I've seen like 18 posts of it, like just scrolling through my feed.
Yeah.
But what is so popular about this fucking mattress or this fucking couch? It's like, but it's expensive, and they found it just lying on the street.
Be like that episode of Seinfeld where they found the chair, or no, it wasn't Seinfeld. Big Bang Theory.
They found something?
Yeah, where they found a chair beside the road and they took it up there, and it had something in it.
What was it?
Like a rat or something.
Oh, that'd be something like fucking like cocaine, like it's stitched into the fucking seat or something. And fucking Sheldon becomes a crack.
Well, he's the one that made him get rid of it.
I don't blame him. I wouldn't pick up a fucking couch off the side of the fucking road. I had a friend, some fucking dumbass that bought couches and gave us bed bugs here twice because of him.
That's so disgusting too.
Like, don't invite me to your house and don't come to my house when you got bed bugs.
No.
On the third time, right, when I started hanging out with him again, I should have just fucked him. Like, fuck you, bro. Every time I got home, right, what I would do is I would throw every single one of my clothes into the dryer, turn that shit up to like 40 minutes, and just burn out all the bed bugs. Never had bed bugs again. Never trusted him though.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Hey, can we take your car? No, let's just take your car. Your car's already got bed bugs.
It's got shit just crawling through it.
He would just have fucking like 2 layers of trash in his passenger side footrest thing.
God.
Or what's it called? The foot pit? You know, when you put your feet...
like the floorboard?
Yeah, the floorboard. Just like 2 layers. Like you'd be like, "What? How do you know it's 2 layers?" Like, believe me, you'll know it's 2 layers when you punch through one and there's still another layer underneath it.
That's like a hoarder.
He was, and his excuse every time was like, "Oh, it's too hot this summer. I'll do it when it's colder." And then during winter, "Oh, it's too cold this winter. I'll do it when it's warmer." So it's just like whatever bullshit excuse he could come up with.
Couldn't be me. It could not be me.
Fucking filthy.
Ugh. All right. The Asgard's upgrades to the Odyssey saved the ship and gave the Tauri an advantage in the war, as the new plasma beam weapons installed on the Odyssey gave the Tauri weapons capable of destroying Ori motherships and almost any other ship they came across. Just straight through the shields and blow them up.
Damn.
And that's why they didn't want to give people their weapons.
Oh, they were that
they
good.
Were strong. Then we have the rise of the Vanir. A few months after the death of the Asgard, the Atlantis expedition encountered Fenrir, an Asgard scientist who had been exiled from his people after his test of a new weapon.
Dog.
Apparently, it's not. It's just
the fuck.
Another gray Asgard. His test of his new weapon resulted in the destruction of an entire solar system. Although, well, I guess it wasn't Fenrir supposed to eat the sun or something like that?
Shit, I can't remember. I know it was Loki's kid.
Yeah, I thought it was like where...
It's a wolf.
It ate the moon or the sun, I think.
There's already 2 wolves that chase the moon and the sun. I don't know how he would be able to go up against 2 other wolves. I don't know. I don't know enough about fucking Norse mythology.
I'm pretty sure it had something to do with that, but that would make sense if he destroyed a whole solar system. That's where the myth would come from. He ate the sun. Just gone. Although Fenrir was devastated when he learned of the loss of the people, he nevertheless sided with the expedition over the Wraith. Over the Wraith after Tala Emagen assured him that he had only deceived him God, that's written horribly. Assured him that they only deceived him to spare him the pain. Fenrir and his warship destroyed the Wraith fleet that was attempting to cull the humans of the planet Herun. I have no idea when that took place, but I'll look back into it. He was subsequently killed when a Wraith Queen sacrificed herself to mount a suicide bomb run on his ship. But Colonel Carter was able to take control of his ship and use it to destroy the Wraith hive ship. The Vanir were encountered in 2008 by the Atlantis expedition after the expedition's discovery of Janus's lab, which is in, what do you call it? Atlantis. Mm-hmm. Like there's like all these labs and shit down there. They invaded Atlantis, captured a key component of the Atero device, and kidnapped both Dr. Rodney McKay and Dr. Daniel Jackson. They forced Jackson and McKay to activate the device, rendering the Wraith unable to use their hyperdrive systems. The Vanir didn't care that a side effect of the device would cause any activated Stargate to overload and explode.
Great. The one fucking means of travel, basically.
Yeah.
For instantaneous travel. Let's just blow them all up.
So apparently, whatever frequency the hyperdrives that the Wraith used was at the same frequency that this device would blow up Stargates too. So you're just fucked either way.
You'd be stuck on a planet forever. Unless you have a spaceship, and even that would take forever to get anywhere.
Yeah.
They don't have like wormhole tech or anything, right? At least not like Stargate stuff, but like for ships to move faster than light speed.
Well, they had the hyperdrives.
Oh.
But
how fast would they go?
If I remember right, one of the examples that they gave is that the Daedalus with a ZPM, which is like their super powerful batteries almost, but it could go from Earth to the Pegasus Galaxy in 2 weeks.
That's still for a long time.
Yeah. So it's not instantaneous, but whenever you compare it to Star Trek, it's much faster than Star Trek.
Fucking Stargates, though, you're like there.
Yeah, Stargate's is automatic. It's a wormhole.
That's basically what they listen up, United States government. That's basically what you got to do. I've been telling people this forever. When we go to the moon, put a fucking teleporter there. We'll build one back here. Now we can travel to the moon instantaneously. When we go to Mars, set a small group with teleporter tech, build a teleporter over there. Then you can go travel to Mars instantaneously. Listen to what I'm telling you. I'm a genius. Well, first we got to build teleporter technology.
Alrighty, then we have their society. So they had a high council. The Asgard High Council was the government of the Asgard. The size and structure of the council was not known, but there were 7 seated members, including Freyr, Thor, and Pennegal. The High Council made decisions that affect the entire race. In addition, they negotiated in name of the Tauri and the protected planets.
I would love to hear the comment. Like, I didn't vote for them. The conversation of the common folk.
And the council members met in a great room with holographic projectors.
That sounds old school as fuck. Let me pull out this fucking projector.
Their interaction with the other races. So, as a function of the Protected Planets Treaty, the Asgard set up protective measures and holographic representations of themselves on a number of planets in the Milky Way galaxy for protection against the Goa'uld and other enemies. On the planet Samara, the Asgard Thor set up a device known as Thor's Hammer. It was a protective obelisk that transported Goa'uld or symbiote carriers to an underground labyrinth where they could only leave if they let the host leave. So the Goa'uld themselves could not leave out of that labyrinth. You can only pass through if you didn't have a Goa'uld in you.
How does that help the Goa'uld?
I don't.
I would just stay in there then if I was like, well, I guess we're not leaving then.
Then they just die basically.
But they die anyway?
Well, like if the Goa'uld shows compassion, the person that they're in will get to live still.
Fuck that person.
Exactly.
It's us or nothing.
The hammer, which is Thor's hammer, was destroyed by SG-1 and Teal'c. Whenever Teal'c got trapped within the labyrinth because he had a symbiote.
Just starts fucking smashing shit.
Thor replaced the destroyed hammer with
By the way,
one.
Teal'c's the actor that plays Kratos in God of War.
Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal. He was also fucking with the Norse gods. Although he did quite a better job of destroying every single one of them.
Yes. Thor replaced this hammer with a new one that would recognize Teal'c and not harm him.
Well, that didn't happen in the game at all. If you play the game, you know damn well he'd be smashing with that hammer.
While the Asgard maintained a fleet of ships with defensive capabilities, they were not a militaristic race and strongly disapproved of the use of technology for aggressive reasons. While they formed an alliance with the Tauri and were willing to give them upgrades for their ships such as the Asgard shields, sensors, transporters, and hyperdrives, they were unwilling to give up their Asgard weapons until their race was on the brink of extinction due to the policy of not giving other races weapons, particularly out of fear that they'd be used by those races against them later on.
Hey, man.
I mean, it's kind of smart. Like,
always gotta watch your back with everybody.
We'll give you every other technology to
but
help
the
you
one
out.
technology that would help you beat us.
Yep. They also have safeguards built into Asgard transporters to prevent it from being used as weapons. Like, so you can't transport weapons with their transporter systems.
You bastards.
Their language, it is generally theorized that the Asgard language influenced the evolution of Germanic languages. The written language of the Asgard is composed of runes. The known name Asgard, they all have names from Nordic mythology. So, yeah, that's where in this universe, where all Norse stuff came from, basically. Asgard technology is dependent on neutronium. They possess a level of technology significantly more advanced than that of the Goa'uld and many other races in the known universe. Only the Ancient and the Ori were known to be of superior technology level, though the Nox and Furlings were speculated to have similar technology levels as well.
If they can't beat a fucking robot they made themselves, so they gotta use inferior fucking bullets.
Yeah. The Asgard are remarkable in their technology level, having reached the pinnacle of their development in only 100,000 years.
They can't bang. They're dying of fucking inbreeding. They're full of shit too.
And they are young. They are younger as a species than the ancients by millions of years.
God dang.
Yeah. Their ships were capable of traversing thousands of light years in minutes, and their shields could withstand multiple hits from Ori warships while remaining undamaged. They were also mastered at advanced transportation and holographic technology. So, like, they were experts of those things. Shortly before their extinction, the Asgard developed energy weapons capable. So they didn't even have the energy weapons before; they just developed them with repeated strikes by defeating Ori shields, which had previously proved impervious to anything except the unstable vortex of the Ori's own supergate, which is how they got to the Milky Way galaxy.
Always wondered about other races and their entertainment. Like, what kind of stuff do they read books? Do they make books, movies?
Apparently not the Asgard.
I don't know. That's probably why I like Mass Effect so much.
Yeah,
was because it was so detailed in the regular life. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, they like to drink this type of drink. They like to watch these type of shows. All the races, alien races, had like an actual civilization, society. So I wonder if the ancient or the Asgard did anything for fun.
Well, I do know that
Well, they can't fuck, so.
No, they can't do that.
I think that was the number one thing you could do for fun.
I do know that they gave them that database thing that they gave them. Mm-hmm. It actually, you can create anything, any kind of matter from it.
Was there porn on there?
Probably.
Just fucking gigabytes
before they lost all the ability.
Just like they got their own version of the fucking bounce. That would be so fucking weird.
I don't want to picture these gray aliens
just rubbing their fucking spaces together. I don't even know what the fuck they call it. They're fucking Barbie spots, because Barbie didn't have anything either, or Ken, flat as a pancake.
The sum total of the Asgard's knowledge and technology now belongs to the humans of Earth, a gift to them before their destruction. However, it will likely take Earth decades, maybe even centuries, to fully understand and put it to widespread use.
Damn.
However, the Tauri have had at least some success with this, as they were able to replicate the plasma beam weapons the Asgard gifted to them in the first place, and put them on all their ships within a matter of months of receiving the technology. Now, they couldn't replicate everything else, but they could replicate those weapons pretty damn quick.
Hey, man, that's the first thing you need to work on.
Little is known of Asgard military tactics, as their advanced technology tended to dominate their enemies. They used this to achieve victory in most cases. The Asgard were not above employing trickery against their enemies, such as bluffing the Goa'uld with the Protective Planets Treaty, by appearing to be capable of destroying the Goa'uld while actually lacking the resources to intervene directly due to the other problems that they had with the replicators.
Damn.
The Asgard had no hesitation in sacrificing themselves in battle, as was the case with Thor when he decided to self-destruct his ship in hyperspace in order to destroy a replicator cruiser.
Jeez, if I couldn't bang, I wouldn't care either.
Like, fuck it all.
Just throw myself into a goddamn starship.
The Asgard had some problems with the developing creative or original military tactics, as their brains were simply too far advanced and complicated, making them almost incapable of resorting to more primitive means in defeating their enemies. This was the primary reason why the Asgard took Samantha Carter to develop a tactic to use against the replicators, despite the fact that she was one of the smartest people on Earth. So she's dumb
compared to them.
As dumb as a doornail compared to them. So you know what? You're just smart enough. You might be able to help us.
So they wouldn't like have like some low tech way of beating somebody.
And they didn't. Like they whenever they
then I could beat them.
Yeah. Well, they had force fields and stuff, so.
Believe me, if they know, sometimes a truly strategic mind can overcome almost any obstacle.
And sometimes dumb people are smarter than they look.
Yeah.
I've met a few of my life.
I can fucking throw a rock in their face. They wouldn't see it coming. Like, God damn, what the fuck is that?
Then we get into the Roswell Gray conspiracy. It would appear that the Asgard are the source of the gray alien concept common in UFO and alien abduction accounts on Earth. It is known the Asgard have been observing and occasionally visiting Earth for a long time.
They're also in South Park.
I know.
They'd be shoving things right up your booty hole.
Cartman.
No, my character too in the Stick of Truth.
Likely centuries. They seem to have originated the Norse mythology, and of which records exist that are well over 1,000 Earth years old.
Do they talk about how the abduction stuff is, or is there no?
Yeah.
Well, what's that about?
So it has been shown that at least some abductions, have taken place, perpetuated by the disgraced Asgard geneticist Loki over a span of decades and upon citizens of a number of countries.
So it was Loki.
It is known that the Roswell, New Mexico crash, famous amongst ufologists, I didn't even know that was a word till just now, was an actual event in the Stargate universe and was caused by a time-traveling SG-1. It is also known that Loki had a number of Asgard human hybrids which died in escape pods at Roswell.
So there were hybrids?
Yeah. They were hybrids of humans and Asgardians.
Man, that must have blown those scientists' mind back in Roswell. Like, God, they got our DNA. Who are we? What are we? What's our origins?
Interestingly, some Earth UFO encounter accounts describe gray aliens working in concert with or under the command of giant aliens, hulking humanoids over 6 feet tall of nomadic human appearance, apparently mostly with the giants being in command over the grays.
Man, I would love to be one of those writing rooms with the SG Stargate writers.
Yeah.
Like, they hit a weed. You know what would be a good idea? you like those stories about the Nordic guys and the little aliens?
Let's combine them.
We'll make them Asgard.
This may be the contactees' interpretation of the Asgard using of holograms of the large Nordic humans, basically. And so basically their theory is that it was holograms and not
their theory. Just ask the guys, like, yo, what the fuck was it?
Well, they committed suicide, so they can't ask. They're gone.
Damn.
Basically, because that's how they present themselves to less developed human cultures and stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to look like a fucking freaky great thing or look like a normal person.
Then we have a list of different Asgards that we know of, anyway. So we have Aegir, which is the Asgard commander, leader of all of them. We have Anne, which is an Asgard scientist. We have Famrir, which is the former host of Raw during the first Stargate movie. At the very end, when you see that weird-looking alien thing die off, it was an Asgard.
Oh, really?
That was taken over by a Goa'uld.
I didn't know there was. I don't remember that movie at all.
It's an old movie, so...
I know I had Kurt Russell from Escape Zone from LA in it.
Yeah.
With that super military buzz cut.
Yeah.
Looked like the guy from Street Fighter.
It did. What was his name? Was it Guy?
I don't know.
God, it's been so long since I played the old Street Fighter.
He had a great attack though.
Yeah.
There's a great
and they combed his hair.
There's a great animation on YouTube where it's that guy from Street Fighter being tasked with finding who's taking all these military, like soldiers getting like picked off by some assailant. So they send that guy in there and it turned out to be the Winter Soldier. Then they have this fucking epic ass fight because he's a super soldier and I don't know what the fuck this guy is, but he's got that one attack of his.
Yeah,
he fucking does like a little spike attack. It's like a yellow energy attack.
Yeah, where he like crosses his arms and they go flying out. Yeah,
it's like some weird like fucking energy beam comes out of it. And the fight looks like how it would look in like a real fight. Like if they were like real people with those powers fighting for real.
Yeah. Without
any like super like gimmicks, like special effects, it's animation. And it's fucking brutal, but it's awesome. And then for some reason, that one guy, Crossbones, from the movie, the Civil War, he's got those fucking like he's got these metal apparatuses on his arm. It's like a spring that gives him more punching power when he hits somebody. It adds energy to his punches, or like adds weight to his punches. Like he hits somebody with like it's like a fucking like I want to say like steampunk-esque.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's like brass knuckles, but like with like fucking an actual robotic attachment to it that adds like an exosuit, but just to his arms. It was basically what it was in Civil War.
Right.
When he was fighting Captain America, he had these fucking things and that would actually throw Captain America around because he wasn't a super soldier, so he had to level the playing field with Captain America. And once Captain America fucking broke him off his body, He was back to being normal
Like
nobody.
now you're a normal human again.
But it's really cool. You should check it out.
Do you remember the name of the?
I just typed in Winter Soldier versus Street Fighter guy. Close enough.
Then you'll be able to find it. Last of the Asgard, Fenrir, which is the Asgard scientist.
They showed that a dog. I don't understand.
Apparently, it's just the names that they turned him into mythological
They
beings.
just made it a creature then. Like we have this robot monster dog.
Freyr, which is a member of the Asgard High Council. We have Heimdall, a scientist. Hermiod, the Asgard engineer and liaison to the Daedalus ship. Hermod, which is an Asgard teacher. Kvasir, which is an Asgard scientist. Loki, a rogue scientist. Odin, Thor's mentor. So he wasn't the...
He ain't his daddy.
No. But he is also an Asgard scientist that has been ascended at this point. We have Pinnacle, a member of the High Council. We have Sigyn, an Asgard scientist working on life extension projects. Sejuna, which is an Asgard researcher, scientist, and teacher. Thor, the supreme commander of the Asgard fleet. We have Tyr, a one-time chief tactical officer and military strategist of the Asgard fleet, one-time commander of the Valkyries and defender of Vanaheim. And then we have Zeus.
The fuck is Zeus doing there?
He's an amnesic ruler of Stenos. Basically, it was a clone of one of the Asgard that was never downloaded. It never got the person's mind downloaded to
The
it.
information.
So it escaped onto this world, and whenever the people met it, it was in its holographic Nordic form because it knew intuitively that it shouldn't come out as like an Asgard,
Right.
But they assumed that it was the long lost god Zeus, which was a Goa'uld. So it took on that role because it had no memory. So it's like, oh, that must be me.
So
And stayed as
Zeus was a Goa'uld
Yes.
who left.
or was killed. I can't remember which.
And this guy shows up and he's like, yeah, that's me.
Because he had amnesia, so he didn't know what he was.
Man, he must have done a lot of banging.
Like I said, it was just a clone that didn't ever have its memory transferred.
Yeah.
So it was like basically a blank slate, but it still had the ability to use holographic projection. So when it comes out like a Norse dude, like real big and buff, and going into this place, like, that's our god. Because apparently he alone beat the shit out of a bunch of these people.
He just started stomping people out for no reason.
Yeah. And whenever they seen that he had like energy-based weapons, they thought it was Zeus using lightning to smite them.
Jesus.
Yep. But that is everything that I've got on the Asgards. Next week we will cover the Furlings and the Nox.
Furries.
They have shorter entries, so we're going to do that as a single episode. And then the third one will be on the Ancients.
Do they have some name or are they just the ancients?
The Lanteans are the ones that left Atlantis. And then the Ancients are basically what they were called.
No. Do they have like an actual name?
I thought it was...
I know in Mass Effect they're called Reapers.
I think it was the...
Well, no, those are the other ones.
Atlans? The Atlans, maybe?
Fuck, I don't know. There was some race right before Mass Effect, the trilogy comes out, that they were an ancient race. I don't remember what they're fucking called. I gotta play Mass Effect again. You get the bang a blue alien if you want.
The Altera.
Okay.
So they actually had a name, but they became known as the Ancients because they existed from over 50 million years ago.
God dang.
And then all the way through the Asgard's time. And then they ascended. But like I said, we'll cover that in the third episode of this.
Just like a rapture, like I'll see you later.
It's kind of how it was, a little bit.
Fucking close this for close state for some reason.
One cool fact is that Merlin was one of the Lanteans.
So he was
That's why he had his abilities.
Okay.
Where it looked like magic, but it wasn't.
They really went with the Arthur C. Clarke this line of magic being just silence. Science is too advanced for us to understand yet.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
But anything else to add before we head out?
No.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.